because I'm not a planner.
Sorry.
So I appreciate you dragging me out of that. I love our people and I love our team, but I'm not much of the planner. I'm just tell me what to do, and I do it. So, but anyway, and then also I had a sinus infection this last week. I'm over it. Everything's fine. It's not COVID. There is diseases outside of COVID that we can get. But both of my ears are clogged, so I feel like I'm in an airplane right now. So if I'm talking too soft or too loud, just say, "Hey, we can't hear you," or "Whoa, back up, dude, chill out," whatever. So
Well, thank you so much for being on, guys. I think most of you know Kyle. I mentioned that I met him out in Arizona at Leaders or at what was it called? Leadership of Excellence or something like that, I think. And it was just instantly, I was totally drawn to him, and he was sitting at our table. And as he talked about his story, because you were a pastor, right?
what?
Yeah. And he talked about how he's like been working on like a book about like Christian network, like network marketing for Christians. And I was like, I need this book now. And I like literally need you to connect with my team because I have such strong women of faith on my team. And I do know that there's certain mindset issues that Christians
Sure.
in particular struggle with. And so I told him like whatever he wants to talk on tonight, I kind of share a little bit about some stuff that I know some of you have told me, but just anything is going to grow us, right? Because Kyle's way at the top of the company. And so he's, like he said, he's still learning, he's still growing, that never stops, but there's just so much value that I'm excited to just hear from him tonight. So we're so excited to have you here.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for having me. And ladies, it's awesome to see everybody here. I love meeting new people. And so let me give you a little bit of our background. I'll give you the Reader's Digest, which you're probably all too young to even know what that is. But there's this thing that used to come out called Reader's Digest, that these little snippets of stories. Let me give you a little snippet of our story first before we jump in. And then I would love to take some questions at the end, particularly if it is about faith and network marketing. I'd love to address any of those. So my wife and I, we've been married for 18 years as of last week. So our marriage can officially vote now. So we're excited about that. And it's off to college. And so, but yeah, we have been married for 18 years. We have 9 kiddos. We're not in a cult. That was on purpose. The whole 9 kids was on purpose. Well, it really wasn't on purpose. It just kept happening. So we just said, okay, Lord, here we go. 3 of our children are adopted from China. We did all older adoptions. So each one of them came to us when they're about 9 or 10 years old. So we skipped the baby phase. 4 of our children have special needs. We have 5 children with high medical needs. And so, as you can imagine, our family is pretty busy and have a lot of doctor appointments, or we have a lot of, therapies and all those things we get to do. On top of that, I was a pastor for 15 years. I've been retired now from pastoring for 2 years, just because God told me it was time to go do something else. And I said, okay. And so, no scandal, no, I didn't take money or, curse out a deacon or anything like that. It was all just, the Lord asked me to go, and we left a beautiful little church over in in Eugene, Oregon. We live in Central Oregon. That's the state up in the north west, below Washington. We're not as crazy as California, but we're not as angry as Washington. So we're about like right in the middle. So, but we love Oregon. We've been living where we live now for about a couple of years. Cassie and I both are diamonds in the company. Cassie's actually a diamond gold, reentry gold. I'm a diamond senior silver. And if you're wondering if it's a competition between us both, it is often. So she's winning at this point, but that's okay. So when we started Plexus 6 years ago, we were at rock bottom. I had lost my job at a church due to budget concerns. The church had to let me go as an interim in Portland, Oregon. I was also a professor at Warner Pacific University, which is a college here in Oregon, and they had to let me go because of budget concerns. And so apparently I wasn't worth the money. And so we found ourselves without any income. And, when you struggle financially, your health is the last thing you care about. And we were parenting from the couch. At the time, we only had 5 kids, so small family. And that was a joke. It's okay. Sorry, some of you gave me that look like I was like, yeah, it's but we only had 5 kids. We had dreams of adoption. We had all these dreams and everything like that. But whenever you're financially strapped, it's really hard to dream. And so one of my former students in student ministry, I knew her when she was 16, started talking about Plexus, and we gave it a shot. And we bought our first little welcome packs, the triplex, which is, some of you are old enough to even know what that terminology means. I've been around Plexus long enough to know what a triplex is. When we did that, and the products were amazing, the company was amazing, and in 6 years, here we are. We went from welfare, government assistance, to seeking the welfare of other people, is what we like to say. So So yeah, anyway, that's our journey. There's so many twists and turns and all of that. The fact that all 9 of our children are in private school. We paid for 2 of our adoptions that are about $35,000 a piece international. We paid from that because of Plexus. We got to pay cash on that. Just incredible things like that God has done for us. And so, like I said, 2 years ago, we were actually at Emerald. The last time we got to do Emerald Extravaganza before it all for COVID hit the world. And so while I was there, God became very clear in Maui that I was supposed to retire from pastoring after 15 years as a lead pastor. And so that's what I did. So in the last 2 years, Cassie and I tell everybody I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. So I haven't figured that out yet. But for now, I'm trying to be the best Plexus ambassador I can be. And so I'm excited. I got to meet Kim at Leaders of Excellence. If I wasn't mistaken, I think you had someone else with you though there, Kim. Didn't you have a little superstar with you?
Trying
Was
to
that
think. So I'm the only person on my team that came
okay?
out, but my sponsor, Chelsea, signed me up.
Okay,
So her and her sister
awesome.
kind of started the
You, you're,
team.
you did have a baby there too, right?
No, I was able to leave my kids with my husband. And so that was a
Okay,
big
you
deal.
know
Leaving
somebody
them.
else at our table. I thought maybe there was
Oh, Noelle. So
Noel. That's
Noelle is
okay.
also, she's like a sideline sister, and she was
Got
the
you.
baby that I
There's
kept
a lot
for.
of babies in that at that. I thought there was a lot of I held a lot of babies, and so everybody figured 9 kids that I wouldn't drop them. So, um, but anyway, yeah, I got to meet Kim. It was wonderful talking to her and exciting to be able to be here tonight. So tonight, what I want to talk to you, I'm assuming when I'm talking to everybody and everybody who has their camera on, you can, or you can just throw up in the audio. You can tell me like if this is true or not. I'm assuming you all have been in Plexus for at least a little while, know what you're doing. Yeah, everybody kind of knows. I mean, that's relatively speaking. Like, I don't think any of us really know what we're doing most of the time, right? But you, if you use terminology tonight about Plexus, about the kind of typical terminology we use in Plexus, I don't want to lose anybody. So, okay, great, wonderful. So one of the things that really shifted for Cassie and I in our business, that got us from, so we started out really quickly. We had oh, that's totally fine. Yeah, girls hopping on, no big deal. That's great. We started out really quickly out the bat, and from the very get-go, I was kind of in. I wasn't one of those husbands who were like, oh, what's this, whatever. I was desperate. I was like, I don't care. Like, if it was gonna get us, if we're gonna make an income off of this, let's do it. We're desperate, so I didn't really care at all what it was. I would sell. You want to sell makeup? I'll learn makeup. Let's figure it out. And thankfully, that's not the route we went. But we went silver, gold, senior gold in the first 4 months. Like, it was really quick. I mean, and back to back, like she would hit gold, I would hit gold. She'd hit, I mean, it was, like I said, a competition. And then about 2 months in between that, we hit ruby, senior ruby, and just back that we double ranked back to back months. And so we thought we had it down, but we were working so much. I would go and pastor all day, be at our church from 9 to 5, and then we'd be up till midnight just doing Plexus things, giving kids like Cheerios and like getting a thing of milk and like, good luck. We get mom and dad go to work. And it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't a sustainable rhythm. It wasn't a sustainable, just kind of natural culture to our family. But we were desperate, and some of you may have been there. Maybe you're in that season. Maybe you're in desperation season. And so I want to say there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's just how it's going to be. And thankfully, with network marketing and Plexus, you don't have to always be in go mentality all the time. But we knew it wasn't sustainable, and so we began to try to figure out, what does it look like to have a vision for our business where we're being productive, we are doing the things we need to do, and we are able to get through the hard seasons, the slow seasons, the difficult seasons, the 4 kids have a fever right now, so we really can't jump on the team call seasons. I mean, so how do we shape this to where at the end of the day, when we are hitting our goals, that we feel really good, like we've accomplished something, and that we're doing what the God wants us to do, and that we haven't lost our family in the process, and that we have this vision for our business and our lives that's going to make an impact beyond just what's in our bank account. Like, we have to kind of get a hold of that. And so one of the things I want to talk to you about is kind of building that vision for you and your business. One of the number one things I talk about with our leaders and our team, and I have about 3 coaching calls a week with our leaders, with a different leader each week. And it's a consistent thing that we talk about is, what does this look like the next season or the season to come after that or 3 years from now? Are we doing this in ways in which feels natural to you, feels like you're honoring God in what you're doing? Is it something that doesn't feel like a bait and switch, doesn't feel like it's not who you are as a person? And a lot of times when I ask them what's their vision, they'll give me a numerical number. They'll say, well, my vision is I'd like to make $300 more a month. That's great. That's a good goal, but that's not a vision. Does that make sense? That's a good goal. I mean, who doesn't want $300 more a month? You know, and but that's a goal. And sometimes say, well, okay, I'll say, well, let's go a little bit deeper, and they'll say $500 a month. I'm like, okay, maybe we're wrong track. So I truly believe that in the beginning, it's okay to have financial goals and that be kind of your why. We talk about why a lot in Plexus. You probably know about why. I'm sure Kim's walked you through how to create a why and craft a why. But what I'd love for you to consider tonight is go beyond the financial, go beyond the numerical. And maybe finances isn't a thing for you. Maybe you're driven by achievement and I really want to hit this rank or I want to earn all the things, right? I've got a gal on my team. She's a wonderful lady, Sapphire. She don't need the money. Her husband makes a buku amount of, we're talking like Tarl and Alec kind of money. Okay. And so they don't need the money. And I asked her often, like, why are you doing this still? And she's like, because I just really love recognition. And I love earning trips and I love challenges. Okay, great. I mean, wouldn't we all love to have that issue? But whatever you're doing it for, it has to go beyond financial because there are going to be days that Kim wakes up and she slept on the wrong side of the bed. She had kids crawling up in her bed all night, like, had nightmares, or, she has a stressful day ahead or whatever. And she just doesn't. That was today. Okay, there you go. Uh, we have a 4-year-old who she's our youngest of 9, and she runs the house, and we've given up that fight. She literally sneaks in every single night about 3 a.m. Half the time, I don't even know she's there. But there are going to be days and even seasons in which this is really hard, and that life is just hard. I mean, we've since 2020, it feels like life has been 3 times as hard, right? And I'm not sure a goal of $300 a month, $500 a month is going to get you up in the morning. I'm not sure if a financial goal is really going to get you past that. I don't want to do this today. I don't want to send the messages. I don't want to make that call. I don't want to do my IPAs. I'm not sure if that's going to do it, because what's going to happen is you're going to start making excuses. We're going to start making excuses. I've made excuses. And we're just going to put it off to another day, and a day becomes a week, and a week becomes 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden you're having a conversation with Kim saying, how do I come back to this? I haven't touched it in a while. So with that being said, a vision for your business, it can have goals like financial, it can have goals like health, but a vision has to be deeper than that, and it has to touch into your purpose. And I believe that Rachel and Rebecca and Allison and Catherine and Christine and Valerie and Tanisha and iPad, whoever iPad is, I believe that all of you, every single one of you, Patty, there you go, iPad for Patty. All right. I believe every single one of you have been constructed in a way that is unique and wonderfully made. I truly believe that each of you have gifts and characteristics and personalities and abilities that others on this call do not have. I believe I am by that. I believe also that you are in the place you are at, that you have the community that you have. Maybe you have the job that you're in, you have the family that you're in, you married the person you married, you are on the team that you're on for a season just like this. It's not coincidence. You could have been on any team. You could be in any company. You could be at any place, but you're not. You're here. That's pretty special. And so for some reason, you're here. And for some reason, you and I are speaking on a random February evening in 2022. I don't believe that's by a mistake that you're here either. And so when you think of it like that, think about the unique ways you're constructed. And Rebecca Fowler, you can reach people that I can't talk to, that I won't. You have experiences in your life, you have things that have happened, you have skill sets, and you look like an amazing person. I'm sure you're an amazing person, right? Kim says, yes, she's an amazing person. There are things in which you can do that nobody else on this call can do. There are people that are going to listen to you that won't listen to anybody else on this call. You're like, well, I'm not an expert. No, you may not be an expert because none of us are, but you have experiences, and experiences count for a lot. You have a story, and that story matters. And that story connects to the lives of other people with similar stories. And they want to know more on how you've reached the place you have in your story so that their narrative can change. When you have a vision for your business that's that deep, that is something along the lines that touches to your purpose, then those IPAs become a lot easier. Those rhythms become a lot easier. Those messages become a lot easier, even during the bad days. So let's talk about vision statements for a minute. So I have a vision statement. It's Cassie and I's shared vision statement. And is that we are here to do the most good for the most amount of people for the time God has us left on this earth. That's our vision statement. And you're like, well, that's simple. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Well, it makes sense to us. And when Kim asked, can you come on? Yes, I would love to come on because I love helping. I love doing the most good I can for the most amount of people. Now, I'm not here to recruit Rachel. I mean, even though Rachel, I would, if you ever get sick of Kim, call me, but I'm just kidding. There's no intrinsic benefit to my business by talking to the evening, but there's personal benefit because this feeds me. This fills my soul up because it's part of my purpose. And you'd be like, I'd hate to do this for other teams. Then it's not part of your purpose. That's okay. It doesn't need to be. And so, like I said, our vision statement is to do the most good for the most amount of people for the time God has us left on this earth. And that's what we try to do every single day. And that's what we try to do. And that's what wakes us up in the morning. So for your story, maybe your story is I'd like to retire my husband. Maybe your story is I'd like to adopt, or I'd like to put my kids in private school. I'd like to stop working my job, or I would like to do this full time. I'd like to have more time freedom for my family, whatever that case may be. The first thing I want you to do when you're trying to craft a vision for your business is ask the questions of why. And I want you to go at least 4 layers deep. So you say, well, why are you doing this? Why are you in Plexus? You said, well, I want to make more money. That's a great reason. And by the way, if you are a believer, and Kim says most of us are people of faith, that's not a bad thing. And we'll talk about that at the end maybe, but that's not a bad thing to want to make money. Because money, I'm going to tell you from a pastor of 15 years from a Baptist background, money is really important. Money actually moves the mission of God a lot of times. Now, sometimes does God need any of the money? No. Is it all his? Absolutely it is. And so if it's like, well, I want to make more money because I want to do this for my family. I want to do this for my family. I want to do this for my husband, whatever the case may be. That's awesome. Then ask yourself the question, why? Why do you want to make more money? We say, well, I want to make more money because I want to take off the pressure from my husband being the main provider of my home. Okay. Why? Well, because he's really stressed out and he has to take that second shift at the job. And I just don't want to see him in that tension all the time. Why? Well, because he never gets to really be fully present with me and the kids. And I really want him to be fully present with me and the kids. And I want to spend these next few years that our kids are under our roof. I want them to be precious and not worried about finances. Well, there it is. There's your why. Doesn't the why sound better when doesn't the vision for your business sound a lot better when it says, I do Plexus because I want to provide freedom, time freedom and quality time for my family so we can build a lifetime of memories, than I want to make $300 more a month. I want to make $300 more a month isn't going to get you out of bed on Monday morning when everything's going wrong and everybody's told you no and you're the crazy Plexus lady at church that nobody wants to hear from anymore. It's iPad Patty. Hi, iPad Patty. That $300, that vision for your business isn't going to go as far as I want to build memories, a lifetime of legacy of memories and time freedom with my family. That'll get you up in the morning. It will. It just will. And so that's what I'm talking about when it talks about a vision for your business. And so there's three things I want to hit upon real quick. The first thing is a vision for your business. It needs to have courage. And here's what I mean. Visionaries, and I like to think that I am a visionary. In fact, my wife jokes all the time that my head's in the clouds way too much, that I need to be grounded in reality, which she's very much correct. She's my reality check constantly, and that's why she makes the perfect mate for me. But visionaries don't fear failure; they only fear losing out on opportunity. It takes courage, really, to implement a vision that is bold and life changing. You know that? It takes courage, really deep down conviction to implement a vision that is so bold that it can change the lives of others. And here's the thing with Plexus, and what's fantastic and wonderful is that we're in a business that changes lives. That's pretty freaking incredible. You get paid to help people. You get paid to see that mother of three have energy to get through the day. You get paid to be able to see someone find relief finally from that pain that has been nagging them for so many years. You get paid to see people live the best version of themselves. To me, that's a great flipping job. And it's going to take a bold and courageous vision. A vision that lasts takes courage because you are bucking the system of the cultural norms. You are daring to go beyond the mundane and be magnificent. And to muster courage in your vision means you must have belief and a drive to be significant. And you have to ask yourself this question when you're trying to really craft this vision that the Lord's given you for your business. Do you believe you deserve to reach your goals in Plexus? Do you believe that you have the drive to get you there? Do you want to make a significant impact on the lives of others? These are the questions we have to ask each other if we want a courageous, lasting vision. So the first thing is your vision takes courage. It's got to scare you a little. If it doesn't scare you a little, then it's not a God-sized vision, right? And you may be sitting here and like thinking, well, Kyle, I'm stuck at gold. I heard about your success in the 9 months you're at, Emerald, whatever. You know how long we went? I was at Emerald. After I hit Emerald in 9 months, I was at Emerald for another 18 months before I hit Sapphire. That's just that. Now, I'm not complaining. Emerald's a great place to get stuck at. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, like, don't let not all that, what is the saying? Not all that, what's the Tolkien saying? Oh my goodness, I lost it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Wow, that I totally lost it. Anyway, I'm usually really good about recalling quotes. Anyway, everything that has these meteoric rises, and you hear about these people. Thank you. Not all that glitters is gold. Thank you so much, Valerie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The thing is, we look at these people that have these meteoric rises, and they're made emerald in 3 weeks, something stupid like that, right? And you're like, well, why can't that be me? Can I tell you? To be honest with you, those people are 1 in a million that actually happens to. And there's a story usually behind each one of those. Your journey is very normal and very sustainable, and that's okay. But if you want a vision that's going to last for your business, then you need to have courageousness in your vision. So when you're crafting this vision, when you're thinking about what this could possibly do, what things you could do with more financial freedom, more time freedom, I want it to scare you a little. I want it to scare you a little. Like if you have this vision, I want to start an orphanage in the middle of Africa. Flipping, okay. But well, I mean, that's like, it may not. Okay, that's it. I have a vision. I want to buy my parents' house. Okay. Well, I don't know if that'll happen. You have to have courageousness when it comes to vision and want to make a significant impact in only your life and the lives of others. And the second thing I want you to think about is a vision that lasts takes conviction. I just mentioned that for just a second, but people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision. Okay. You may have a team of 1, you may have a team of 100, you may have a team of thousands. Wherever you're at, if you've signed one person in Plexus, you have a team and you're now a leader. Congratulations, right? And people are going to buy into you way before they buy into the vision. Many people who approach the area of vision in leadership really have it backwards. They believe that if the cause is good enough, people will automatically buy in and follow, but that's not how it works ever. I think John Maxwell says something along the lines of, and don't go Google this because it's probably wrong, but people don't follow worthy causes. They follow worthy leaders with a cause they can believe in. Okay. People don't follow worthy causes, they follow worthy leaders. And then they eventually get to that place where they believe in what they're actually doing. Conviction is contagious. When someone sees where your values are, they hear about your courageous vision, and your team understands where you want to go and the impact you want to make, how you are convinced the vision will come to pass, they will get on board. A vision that has conviction reveals the heart of the leader. It shows those who they are leading and those who they want on their team, where their priorities are. A vision with conviction, I mean, like deep-seated conviction, drives you to show up every day, put in the work to set the vision unfold. You fail, you regroup, and then you re-enter right into the process of implementing that vision. And by the way, before we get to the third thing, if you have not had that conversation with yourself and not had that conversation with your team of what your vision is, you need to start. Because maybe there are people on your team, and maybe you have a rock star, you have a runner, or you have a couple people who are kind of dabbling. That rock star may be meteoric in her rise. That person who's dabbling may go all in if they knew what your vision was, if they knew where you were taking this thing. But you're like, well, I don't want to tell anybody because it may not come to pass. But you got to have courageousness. You have to have boldness, because people are inspired by you, and they trusted you first before they ever trusted Plexus. And now here they are. And so you almost owe it to them to give them a compelling vision so they too can see that a vision for their life is possible as well in this thing we call Plexus. So finally, a vision is compelling. The best vision is the one that not only inspires leaders to show up every day, but it releases other leaders to seek out their own vision as well. Our vision must tell a story. Your vision must tell a story. It has to have a sense of where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And a compelling vision paints a picture for those you lead on what actually accomplishment will look like and what it will feel like, and how they can too implement a similar lasting vision in their lives. A vision leads the leader. It paints the target. It sparks the fire. It really is the motivation behind all that we do. And then finally, a vision, it takes community. You can't get to the end of your vision by yourself. I'm going to tell you something, and though we're recording, Kim will promise not to put this out on the World Wide Web too much so that it does not come back and haunt me. But I will tell you this. Yes, I think I can say this. I had one of the most sobering conversations a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, with one of the top leaders of our company. She's been with Plexus for quite a while, her and her husband. And she asked me a question. We were sitting around this leadership event. She asked me a question. She said, Kyle, I have to ask you something. You seem to enjoy this so much. Talking to people, meeting people, doing leadership talks, all you just seem to I've reached the pinnacle of this company. I have earned all the things. I have gained all the things. I have worked my butt off for X amount of years, every single day, putting 8 hours a day, and I've hit them all. But I just don't, I feel empty. What's your secret? So I asked her a couple of questions. I asked her one, what was her vision? And she said, well, it's usually just the next, I mean, for us now, it's Q1, Q2, it's usually the next sprint goals. It's the next contest. It's the next trip. It's the next rank. It's the next bonus. I said, okay, how's that working? She said, well, every time I hit one, it feels good for a minute, and then I'm off to the next one because that fades. Okay. So the second thing I asked her is, who's celebrating with you? Who's come along with you? He said, honestly, I don't have a great relationship with any of my leaders. I work too hard for them. We're friends, but we don't really work well together because they don't work as hard as I do. And, we just don't, they don't understand. They don't get it. So, okay. I said, well, in my humble opinion, the problem is you've tried to fill your vision with success instead of significance. See, success is a good thing, and it's not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing, but it's a fleeting and fading thing. Success is one of those feelings that comes through an accomplishment, and that's a wonderful thing. That's an awesome thing, and it feels great. But what's even better than success is significant and having a significant vision for your life. When you have a significant vision for your life that's courageous, that's full of conviction, and that is compelling, and that's that deep why seated conviction that God has given you. And when you have other people come along with you and you do this together, that's when you'll find joy. That's what you find joy. And so as we're talking with this top leader, what she realized was that she had fought and clawed her way to the top, but had nobody with her, nobody rooting for her, nobody was next to her. She didn't really have any friends. And also she was filling her life with baubles and accolades and recognition and not impact and significance. And so take it from somebody who also has fallen into that at times. I kind of got in a place where when I was asked to be a trainer, I was the first male ever in our company's history to ask to be a trainer for Jewels of Excellence. And I'm not going to lie, I had a pretty big head afterwards. And I go to my first meeting with all these other amazing trainers. And I realized 5 minutes in the conversation, I don't know anything whatsoever. These ladies are incredible. It was a very humbling thing. And I realized that my part into training isn't going to be how to lay a spreadsheet out of extracting the most points from your team and how to get, whatever. That mine's going to be about leadership, significance, pouring hope into people, loving people, caring about people. That's going to be my contribution. And it filled my cup. And it's been something I can contribute because it's part of my vision. So all that to say, because I don't want to last too long on here, because I really would like to get some of your questions. I hope that you guys can get off this call, and I hope you can take a kind of an inventory. What is my vision for my Plexus journey? Is it a financial number? Which it could be right now, and that's okay, but I'm going to challenge you to go beyond that and go deeper than that. And maybe take that financial number, say, well, that's a goal that leads me to this vision, right? That's one goal of many goals that's going to lead us to this deeper vision, okay? And that vision may be time freedom. That vision may be to start another business. Maybe it's that project, that hobby, that something with your kids. I mean, something that's just that I want more vacation time, whatever it is. But it's one goal of many that leads to that deep-seated vision, right? And I want that vision. Maybe you say, well, I have a vision. Mine's to retire my husband. Well, okay, that's a decent vision. That's good. But is that the boldest vision you have? Is that the most courageous vision you have? Do you have conviction in that vision? And maybe that's it. Maybe oh no, it is. That's our story. He's worked since he was 15 at the mill and all that. Okay, then awesome. But maybe take your vision and say, is this all that God wants for me? Or am I playing it safe? Because folks, because we're friends now. Once I do these, we're now friends. So when I see you out in the public, when I see you at convention this summer, you better come up and say, Becca Valor better come to me and say, hey, friend. Like, hey, what's up, Rebecca? And I hope you have a name tag on because I'm bad with names, right? Or iPad Patty. Well, I want a big hug from iPad Patty. Okay. So, but here's the thing is that when you look at maybe your vision, I want you to ask yourself, like, is there something I've been putting off? Is there something that I'm too scared to look at that maybe God is calling me to? Because Plexus is an incredible vehicle to get you to the purpose that God has set before you. It really is. It's an incredible vehicle that'll allow you to get to where you want to go. So with all that being said, I'm sorry, I just rambled. But I would love. One of my favorite parts of doing these is taking just a few minutes. If you have any questions about your faith and network marketing, how do you deal with money mindset? How do you deal with people at church, leadership stuff, vision stuff, team stuff? How do I talk to men? I don't know, whatever, not in dating sense, in Plexus sense. I don't know how you talk to men in dating sense. That's out of my expertise. But anyway, just you can unmute yourself and just say, hey, I got a question real quick. And you might know it all and have no questions. That's okay.
I have like 20 questions, but I don't want to dominate this. Katie, you go ahead. I'm like, I want y'all to get your questions answered.
I guess I'll start then.
Oh, I can't hear you. Is your volume down, Katie?
Might be.
There we go.
Better?
There we go. Yep.
Okay. I guess I just wanted to ask, I'm sure you've been at a point where you hit a brick wall. And you're like, okay, this isn't working. I'm not getting anywhere. Um, what have you found helpful when you need to reevaluate your strategy? Like when you think you're kind of at your end of your zone, what's
Yeah,
next? Where do you go from that standpoint?
sure. I think the first thing I do is ask myself, where am I not growing? Like, what am I scared to do? What I don't want to do? What am I hesitant to do? Am I not sending my messages? Am I not doing my IPAs? Am I being lazy with my post? So I start saying, what are things that I typically don't like to do? And those are typically the things that are holding me back from not getting to that next level most of the time. The second thing is, I would say, if you hit a brick wall, I would stop talking about Plexus for a hot minute. And I know that sounds crazy. You're like, wait. When you hit a brick wall, you get desperate sometimes and you start throwing out Plexus posts like, and I'm not saying this is what your situation is, Katie, at all, but you start putting out posts like things that you would normally not say, or things that seem really salesy, or they seem really desperate. So I begin to tap into, because nothing feels better than opening up that warmer market even warmer and getting it even bigger. So when I hit a brick wall, I'm like, how do I get more prospects? Well, let's start talking about, I don't know, for me and my niche, it's being a dad. And so, and how embarrassed can I make my teens and tweens? Like that's pretty much my life's goal. So I'll put out a post like that, or I'll start messaging people and potentials that maybe said yes a year or two ago, and just say, hey, just checking in, just seeing how you're doing. And you're like, well, that seems really salesy, but what it's doing is it's trying to grow that warm market. Because I feel like sometimes we hit that wall and we're like, well, I'm doing all the things. Then I start asking the question, well, am I speaking to the same people all the time? Like, are the same 30 people liking my post? Are all my Plexus people only liking my post? Are the only ones messaging me are Plexus people? So, okay, let's stop talking about Plexus for a hot minute and try to grow my market a little bit. Try to make that funnel just a little bit bigger. And then it's amazing what that new warm market, that kind of new community, how that brings a little bit more life into like the action and kind of the interaction you're having on social media, and Instagram, on Facebook, or all the things. And it may not show up in the back office, but you feel better about it. And you feel like, I'm not talking to and begging the same. I'm not talking to Susie Q for the thousandth time, begging her to sign up. I'm actually talking to Lindy Lou, who is actually a new person that I'm just meeting, and it's refreshing and it helps me. So I think that kind of gets me on funk. So just two things. Let's look at what are things I don't like to do, because typically I'm avoiding those and I don't want to do them. But there's usually those are things that I need to do in order to make my business keep going. And then how do I grow that funnel so I can type some different and new conversations? Ironically, the same conversations I'm having with everybody, but just with different faces and different reactions. It just makes you feel better.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I was just talking to somebody else about that today. Like very often we're like, I'm doing all the things, but we're like not inviting to our info page to learn about Plexus, like to anybody, right?
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's like, well, I don't have anybody to invite. I'm like, well, are you doing that IPA of growing your market every day? Because like you said, it may not result in anything in the back office when you do that, because it takes time for people to get to know you. And so if you don't do this, like there's maybe like, I don't know if Kyle, you've heard this or if you believe this, but I really do believe this is true, that there's always at least like a 3-month delay. It's kind of like that, the well, when you walk up to the well and you start to
Yeah.
pump it and there's no
Absolutely.
water coming out, and then it's a drip and a drip, but then there's a steady stream. It takes that time.
Absolutely.
And so if you're constantly adding 3-5 new friends or connections, whether it's a day or you do it a couple times a week or whatever, you're always going to have new people in that pipeline. There's always going to be fresh faces, and
Absolutely.
it's such an important part.
Also, I definitely agree with that. And it's definitely a maturation process for sure. But I would also say, Kim, Katie, something I was thinking about, um, just because it's happening to us now, we are signing up more people face to face than we ever have been, ever. People want to be seen and they want to be heard. And we now attend a church as members, which is super weird, being a pastor for 15 years on the other side of the stage and now sitting in the pews. It's amazing. Actually, I really love it. But we have more people signing up through our church, just meeting people. Our kids' basketball, our daughters are in competitive basketball, so we're meeting them there. Our kids' private school, and it's face to face, face to face. They didn't see a post, they didn't see a message. It's just, hey, what do you do? And so sometimes getting out from behind the screen and actually going and like, actually being human and going on, because people are so desperate for community and to be seen and heard, and they just want to hear a story. Now, don't take somebody to coffee from church. Don't take a gal from church to go coffee and be like, how can I pray for you? Cool. So let me tell you about Plexus. And you pull out your pink drink. Don't do that. We're not baiting and switching here. That's not what we're doing. So we're building relationships, but yeah.
Does anybody else have a question for Kyle or something you're struggling with? So good to hear from people besides me all the time. Well, I don't know if this will help anybody. Anybody else, feel free to ask a question. But Kyle, I think when, and a lot of network marketing people get, that kind of icky feeling when people are sending cold messages, or they think that like you're supposed to send these cold invites to be successful. And I know like Plexus, it seems like that's just not a thing. Like we really want to do network marketing the right way, different way, but that it is important to be inviting people to learn about what we have to offer and how we can help people. So I would love to know how you coach your team when they're a young team, or when they're newer, when they're going silver, senior, silver, gold, like how to be doing that IPA, because that's an important part of it every day, without doing it in a way that feels icky.
Yeah. Well, I'll have a confession to make. I have never sent a cold message. But I have a Sapphire on my team who sends 20 a day. So I'm going to tell you, different strokes for different folks, right? I mean, it's just, she loves it. And I tell her all the time, one day she has to teach me how to do it, but I can't, I just can't, I don't know if I have the ability to do it, but I will say that, there's a pendulum that has happened. It's a fascinating shift that happened in the last 2.5 years. We went from IPA all day, right? Messaging and posting, to this movement that a few voices, not in our company, but in the network marketing arena, started teaching and training on this idea of like kind of the social seller, which is great. And I love it. And it's no more product placement, no more talking about your company. You need to add value, add value. I'm sure everyone's sick of hearing that, right? How are you adding value? Or like, freaking, I don't know. I'm just adding. I'm so sick of hearing that terminology. You have to add value. What does that even mean? What does that mean? And so the thing is, the pendulum swung so much. And then what happened is that we had particular voices too, took that and put a faith element on it. And so then we have this group of people that are, well, nothing's happening because I'm posting and praying, posting and praying, posting and praying. Okay. Do I believe praying over your business and for God to send people your way is a good thing? Absolutely. Do I think posting once a day and then saying a 10-minute prayer is going to get you to diamond? Probably not. So Plexus is one of those things, and network marketing in general is one of those things, is you really do get what you put into it. You get out of it. And so I would suggest that you set up a rhythm and a method and a way of going about your business. And this is what we teach our team all the time, that feels right to you. However, okay, as you're doing that, constantly be evaluating the results. Am I getting and seeing the results that I want? If I'm not, where am I not growing? Where do I need to change? What do I need to do differently? Because we don't teach one way on our team, because I think that would be pretty narrow-minded to think that there's just the Kyle and Cassie Raney's way. But we do teach that you have to show up consistently on whatever way you're choosing to do this business. You have to stay authentic to yourself. Okay. Being yourself, being in your voice. You can't, I want to be really careful about this, because I don't want to step on toes. grabbing my wife's post of the day and reposting it on your page may work because you're in the same community, you're trying to reach the same market that she's working. But also, again, it may not. And so you have to be really careful to make sure that your post and that your brand and that what you're putting out there reflects really who you are as a person, because people can see through that. And so when you're doing IPAs, when you're in this rhythm, if messaging 20 people a day, cold messaging is what you want to do and feel like that's working for you, that's great. I will tell you that though I've never sent a cold message, I've sent plenty of warm ones, if that makes sense. That means we've had a relationship, we've had a conversation, and then I finally make the ask about Plexus. And so I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but I feel like I almost forgot the question, but I think I'm coming back around to it. I promise. There is something here. But as you're trying to hit that next rank, and if you're really working hard, you have to work, but don't be afraid either. So, oh yeah, see, circling back around. So we went from that pendulum swing to IPA all day, asking to, post and pray. Well, I think there's a median in between this, in which you do want to post about things that are not Plexus. You do want to build that warm market. You do want to build those relationships. You do want to pour value, but you also have to have a call to action. How in the world is people going to even know about Plexus if you're not telling them, it's providing a link for them to sign up? If you're not telling them how they get these amazing products, like I think we get way too creative. I think we get way too much in our heads. And I think we get way too much of this, like, I need to have the perfect copy and I need to have the perfect lines. I need the perfect script. And I'm the magical script that's going to get me 50 new people. That Celeste Gwynn said it best. It took her 36 years to get to Diamond. That means that before she was ever in Plexus, right? She was building relationships. She was pouring into people. And can I take a side note real quick, Kim?
Yeah.
Go back, look at your Instagram feed and go back, look at your Facebook page. And I want you to take a very third party kind of pie in the sky, outside look, type view at it. Do you like that person? Is that person compelling to you? Are they authentic? I think in a day of outrage, in a day where everything triggers everyone, maybe people aren't attracted to what you're doing because are we overly negative? Are we complaining? Are we argumentative? What is your social media feed projecting to people? And I haven't gone and creeped on any of you. I have no idea what's on your pages. And I think you should have an opinion. I think you should be an advocate. I think you should fight for things. If you want to be political, all the things. That's not what I'm saying. Take a step back and say, okay, as Katie, when I look at my feed, what is the story that's being said? What's the story being told? Who is this person? Is it consistent? Is it authentic? And is it someone that I would be a part of? And if it's not, then change it. It's not too late. I'm not saying change you. I'm not saying change who you are as a person, change your beliefs. Just take a step back and kind of look and see, well, if I'm hitting a wall and I'm trying to hit this rank and no one's coming to me, no one's asked me about Plexus, so what am I putting out there? Because I think sometimes we just forget, because we crash land into Monday, right? And we're like, oh crap, I got to make my post. And you're just like, okay, Valerie Patterson had a great post, so I'm just gonna steal hers real quick. I'm gonna throw it up there, whatever. And we really don't know what we're saying sometimes. We don't really know what we're doing sometimes. And our feed is not this beautiful story playing out, right? This consistent person. It's kind of just all over the place. It's kind of just all over the place. And so maybe taking a look back and see, like, kind of what's the story you're putting out there? What's the narrative? What's the brand that everyone's seeing?
So good. Everyone heard from Shalene at Super Saturday, but the last company that I was with for 4.5 years was Beachbody. So I got to kind of do life with Shalene and hear from her a lot. And there was a speech she gave at one of our kind of like Plexus convention, was Beachbody Coach Summit. And she said, borrowed words are for the birds. And it really stuck with me because we're actually part of a team now under my sponsor where when I came in, I didn't really like it, but she was kind of part of that, everybody would have like the borrowed post. They would kind of, one person would put one up and her entire team would make the same post. And I was like, how is that working for them? Because I can't, and like you said, with taking your wife's post, like sometimes there would be a little bit of a result, but it wasn't there today. I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen that new group. It was shared, I think, in Jewels of Exodus. It's called like Share Pink. And it's just a group that one of the, I think she's a diamond or sapphire, created, or maybe, no, I think she's emerald. But she created one to just kind of share posting ideas.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice idea. But today I was flipping through for the first time, and they're going through business posts because I'm going to put up a business call to action tonight. And it gave me some ideas. But I almost like, was like, oh gosh, I don't have much time. I should just kind of copy and paste one of these and just tweak the words a bit. And it just didn't feel right. Cause I'm like, I know what I want to say about this. And that's not my heart or my story. I like the idea, but then I'll get an idea and I'll take it and I'll make it my own. And it does take a little bit more time, obviously, to intentionally kind of create your own content. But I've done that from day one in Plexus. And I feel like people just hear my voice in me.
Yeah.
I'd rather make 3 quality posts that are mine every week than try to throw up one every day, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And again, they can spark ideas, and even in the beginning, or maybe you just, there's nothing wrong. I mean, not to break from the great Shailene, but I do believe there are opportunities and times you can do the copy paste. I mean, I think that's fine if you're in a pinch. But I would say if you make that a consistent habit, then you lose your voice. You lose who you are. And then when that person meets you or over Messenger or in person, like, wait a minute, that's not the same person that you were thrown out to be. So
yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to ask Kyle? I know that there's some money mindset stuff on the team. Like I know as Christians, it can be hard. Like even for me, like sitting at Emerald, my sponsor has never had any guilt or any weird feelings around wanting to go for Sapphire and wanting to go for Diamond. And I can't get there. Like I still feel like that making that kind of money is just like selfish. And I know that it's not. I see how much we were able to give this year and what we were able to do. But I know I'm not the only one on the team that struggles with that, especially those of us who grew up thinking that it would make us more like Jesus to struggle. And that like the mixed up biblical view of like having money is sinful when it's obviously not. It's the love of money. And we know that, but sometimes it doesn't always translate. Do you ever have that on your team where that comes up? And how do you coach people through that? Because as a pastor, I imagine like you've had to probably go through some of that yourself.
Yeah. Well, when we first got the Lexus, when we heard Emerald, I wouldn't drive to the church for 6 months. Like I wouldn't do it because I didn't want to be that guy, I didn't want them to think that we were stealing from the coffers or the tithe plate or something like that. But I think that we have been biblically falsely kind of lured into this Christian culture of the suffering servants of Jesus that isn't supposed to have means. But there's an issue with that, and that's the Bible. I mean, like the Bible consistently talks about finances and money, and even for pastors, like pay the worker his wage. I mean, so and we all know the cliche verse. It's the love of money, not money that's the root of all evil. But money is amoral. It is not. It can be good or it can be bad. But I think what I often tell people is, if money is driving you, if that's the sole thing that's driving you, then yeah, I would say you're going to run into a lot of mindset issues, and you probably should. You probably should look back and say, well, what's happening in my heart? What's driving me on this? What's doing? But when I think about if I let mindset issues over money get in my way, I would be 2 less children right now. My son would be still in an orphanage right now actually he'd be aged out of the orphanage on the streets. My daughter would be trafficked at 16. No, she's 16 because she'd be kicked out of the orphanage. So when you have perspective, and I think money mindset when it comes to your faith is all about perspective. When it comes from that, now you won't see on Cassie and I's page, we'll celebrate when we make Mexico or the trips or leaders retreat or whatever, we'll celebrate. But you're not going to see us really be like, look at my Rolex, because we don't have one. And Rolexes are fine. Like if you want a Rolex, go get a Rolex for your husband. I don't care. But, we don't really project that because it's not really what's important to us. I'll give you an example, and this has no pragmatic steps 1, 2, and 3 on how to get over this, but just let me give you an example, a story of what happened recently. My son just turned 16. He was our first adopted son. He has dwarfism. a very rare form of dwarfism, has a very low life expectancy. The oldest, he has only 30 people in the world has ever been diagnosed with his type of genetic disorder, and the oldest was 30. Usually they do not live past 6. He is 16, so we celebrate that because every day is precious with him. And I asked him what he wanted to do for his 16th birthday. What did he want? I thought car, something like that. And he's like, I just want to take a trip with you. Okay. So we flew. His favorite basketball player is Chris Paul, who plays for the Phoenix Suns. And the reason why he likes Chris Paul, because Chris Paul is 5'8", the shortest basketball player right now in the NBA. So he has a connection with him. He likes basketball and he likes Chris Paul. So we got courtside seats, which are not cheap. And we flew to Phoenix. We stayed in a really nice hotel. And they're off my stories now, but it was just this last week. If I had mindset issues over money, I would never have had to be able to experience that with my son because he wouldn't be there with me. And he cherishes time with his dad versus a new car and stuff. So whenever I don't know if I should be making this money, don't think about the money. Think about what the money is going to do, what it's going to create, the testimony and witness it's going to bear, the type of impact it's going to have. And then quickly, money becomes not some sinful object, but a means in which to fulfill your purpose and to glorify God. It's actually selfish to not pursue this financially. And it's actually, I would say, could be a hindrance to the kingdom of God if you don't. Because quite frankly, if I'm being really bold and honest, finances and money is a key aspect to seeing God's mission and purpose move forward. And so when he allows you to earn those finances, that's him saying, here's this the steward of mine for a season. What are you going to do with it? And so that's how we kind of see it. So ladies, I love talking with you. My daughter has a basketball clinic in about 20 minutes that I have to get to. So I'm very sorry I have to jump on off of here. It was a very pleasure. Kim, thank you so much for having me. Humbled to be here. A pleasure to talk to you all. I am just a Facebook message away. So if anybody has any questions, I always give an open invitation. I cannot promise the response will be in a timely manner, but I will do my very best. But I just really appreciate all your attention tonight. And thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for being here, Kyle. It was awesome. I really appreciate you.
I'll have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.